Hello everybody, welcome back to Poppin' Off. I'm Dr. Sandra Lee, aka Dr. Pimple Popper, and this
is your SD bestie.
Yes, our SD bestie. Thank you so much for coming back. As a dermatologist
and an esthetician,
we love all things skincare, so we thought that we would share some of our skincare tips and maybe some life advice with you guys, because this woman here, my bestie, she gives the best life.
And you do too, and it's gonna also be like lots of fun.
Because you make it goofy.
You make it goofy.
I do not.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You all wait and see.
Wait till you hear her laugh. That's what makes it all. It makes you laugh.
No, but she's the goofy one. You're so silly. Look, you see?
Cheers to besties. Right here in our hands, we have some skincare confessions. So we get letters all the time about people's secret confessions. You know, obviously the standard and the generic one is that I love pimple popping. We know a lot of you guys like pimple popping, but here are some true anonymous confessions.
So confession number one. So I had just moved to California from Texas and was so excited that there was good weather that wasn't too hot to keep you inside. Since it was so nice, I was sure I wouldn't get a burn at all. I felt great. Wind blowing, waves crashing in my new city. Boy, was I wrong. I was an actual lobster the next day. I couldn't sleep. I had 15 fans around me, felt nauseous, blisters everywhere. So bad I went to urgent care, then wrapped my arms and legs because of the blisters, and I had to stay out of the sun for weeks. With that being said, how often do I need to apply sunscreen when I'm at the beach? Ooh, this is so,
First of all, let me just say that I could never even hear you tell a story like that. If you were calling, it would be, oh boy, I can't believe I got a sunburn. I can't even imagine. So when that came out of your mouth, I was like, who is talking?
Girl, if this was me, I'd be like, so I went to California. Yes. My ass was totally having the best time. I was probably drunk on the beach, passed out, and then, got burnt.
I have some stories for you guys. So we went to Encore Beach.
You're gonna tell my story?
One time, can I tell this? Because we went to Encore Beach, remember that time? And so she can't swim.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're gonna do this.
If you've ever been to Encore Beach Club, it's like a party and you just wear your swimsuit and you just stand waist deep in water. And that's all you do all day, and you're like surrounded by all these other people, and everybody's drinking. Nobody gets up. Nobody gets to go to the bathroom. Yeah. So you're just standing in there. But what she did I already tell her? This is when you were at Encore Beach Club when you put your face in the water with all the cream in there, and you came out. You're like. Well, she went in the water. You fell in multiple times, and she'd come up like.
Well, this is. You can tell.
So
it's okay.
funny.
You can tell them what actually happened.
What
so
happened?
there was like this stage, and there was all these girls dancing on the pole.
Oh yes. And she had to show that she had.
So I was like, I have my pole moves, and so Sandra was like, no, it's okay. I was so drunk, and I was like, no, I'm gonna get up there, and I get on there, and I'm like doing my thing on the pole, and this girl starts dancing with me. And she's drunk and I'm drunk, and she freaking pushes me into the water, and that's when I fell in, like face in super deep, and I thought I was gonna drown, and then everyone around was like, dude, like relax, you're fine. And then
but she was
laughing.
And I'm like, you can stand up.
I know, she's like, you can stand up, and I was like, oh my God, I swallowed so much of that piss water. Oh my God.
Yes, you did, but that's not unusual. But anyway, I will say, with all that, even though we were out of our mind a little bit, we were very good with sunscreen, right? We protected ourselves.
I mean, I've always,
People call it sun poisoning. It's just really a bad sunburn where you get blisters, and you can even have a fever, because your body temperature changes. You can get very dehydrated, which gives you a headache, elevated heart rate, and things like that. What we try to say is, remember to reapply at least every 2 hours. The best thing too, though, is to sort of seek shade or to wear UPF clothing, ultraviolet protection clothing so that you can help to block the sun rays. Wear a hat and things like that. You want to also drink a lot of water. You want to drink fluids. Ibuprofen or even aspirin, if you're okay with aspirin, can actually block the cycle that might lead to a sunburn. So if you know you've really been out in the sun and you can take aspirin safely, that might be something to help to block such a bad sunburn from happening. So my next one, did you take mine?
Okay, no, it's right here.
Okay. I have skincare confession number 2. When I was little, I was a dancer, and naturally my feet were really gross. They would peel a lot, and I always had to clip my toenails or they would hurt when they got punched in my shoes. Because I was so flexible, I think this is a little bit of a humble brag, you know, a little flexible.
Keep going, I want to know. What happened? What did she do?
I did this silly thing where I would chew my toenails and peel the skin off with my teeth.
Oh my
I see
gosh.
somebody's eyes. I see somebody turning blue green.
Oh my God.
I didn't eat them, obviously. And I don't do this anymore, obviously. But I can still reach my mouth with my foot. Can you reach your mouth with your foot? Or your foot with your mouth?
Wait.
I don't know who this person is, but I love you already. You're amazing. And I'm very jealous of your flexibility.
I'm very jealous of your flexibility.
And I think that is so amazing in a way that you have that you can tell us about these stories. And they're funny stories. Nobody got hurt or anything. And I'm sure plenty of people do these things. Hey, her head was dunked in pee-filled water and she's lived to see it. So I would chew my own toenails before that happened.
Shut up! You didn't even save me.
Skincare confession number 3. In high school, I accidentally forgot to apply sunscreen before going to a field day in the middle of summertime in California. I got a really bad sunburn on my back because I was wearing a tank top and it was so red that it was almost purple. Eventually it bubbled and blistered and the peels came off in such a satisfying way that I knew I had to save them. I put them in a plastic Ziploc bag and pinned it to my bulletin board. It was probably one of those mood boards, like what I wanted to be one day when I grow up.
Oh my gosh.
This memento survived a move across the country and is still pinned to my bulletin board at my parents' house.
No way. There's
Dang.
no
Props
way.
This is amazing though. But you should be proud of the skin that you're in. You know what I mean? Just be proud of it.
Yeah.
And one day, if you ever go missing, you just take that down and this is gonna help identify you. In fact, we could make a DNA copy of you. We can make another person just probably from that skin. Don't become a serial killer because now we have documentation of who you are and we'll be able to find you better. And that's all the skincare confessions. Send us some more because these are riveting, I feel like. But I think these are amazing.
Definitely send some more.
Yeah. Absolutely. I heard that this sick person texted us a photo somehow.
Oh my God, I cannot believe this.
If this said person can actually deliver like part of it to us, we can look it under the microscope.
And do what?
To see if there's any little critters in there.
Why would there be critters?
You know there's mites that live on our face all the time and stuff like that. There's a lot of things, so let's do it. This is part 2. Stay tuned for part 2.
Just so you know, my mom said, that's nasty. Oh my God, Stephanie, that must be smelling. She didn't know about it. Can I take a picture and
She
send it to her?
doesn't know about
No.
it? You just
No,
told
she
her? You just told her? So let's switch gears here a little bit and let's talk a little bit about confidence. You really are very good about helping your friends with their confidence. You know, you really help to uplift them and really give them great advice. But I'm sure you have yourself struggled here and there with just different parts of your life and things that happen and it's changing your confidence.
Yeah, so for me, when I was younger, I based my confidence on like how I looked. I always knew I was kind of like a cute girl, you know. So when I was younger and when I was a teenager, it was like how I looked, and like if I looked nice, my hair was nice, my makeup was on, and I was dressed really cute, I just felt my best. But as I got older, I realized that confidence doesn't come from how you look, what you're wearing, or even how smart you are. It really has to do with, you know, how you carry yourself. And I had this incident in my late 20s. I had to go to this dinner and I was so nervous because everyone in the room was super smart. I felt like I just wasn't smart enough to sit at the table with these people. And there was really nothing I could do. I had to go. And when I walked in there, I said, F this shit. I'm going to walk in like I own the room. And I did. And I remember just walking in there and like, hey, how is everybody? How are you? And I just remember everyone wanted to talk to me and wanted to take pictures with me and wanted to get to know me. And I just remember thinking like, oh shit, like these people just really like me. And it was mostly because I think I just walked in there with such confidence.
Right.
There was this other time where we were taking pictures and we were in Kabul. We went to like our yearly Kabul trip.
Oh, yes.
And there was this picture you wanted to post. And I said to you, oh, I don't like the way I look. I don't want you to post that picture. And you looked at me and you said, in 10 years, you're going to look back and you're going to say, this is the best I ever looked. This is going to fade. Your youth, like your beauty, it's going to go away. There's more to life. And I remember a little bit of me was like, F you. But then I think I was like 34 when you said this to me. I'm 43 today. And that just really sat with me. And today I get it. I freaking get it. And that's why I just like, gosh, I get it. And so for me now, confidence, it's really, really how you carry yourself and how you present yourself in any situation.
I'm like almost a decade older than she is. And so I feel like I can head off things of the past and give her advice that I just figured out. So when it comes like 5, 7, 9 years or so, you're gonna like figure it out yourself too. And I love it because then she'll usually come back and say, oh yeah, you were right. And I love that when that happens. What's really interesting is I think that a lot of people, we don't really hear things until we're ready to hear it. So I don't think I really heard all these women, celebrities or whatever, people being interviewed saying, oh my gosh, in my 40s, I started to really figure out who I was and really feel comfortable in my skin and feel really proud of what I've done, and that these other people, this other chatter, people judging me, it doesn't matter anymore. And I think that you can hear that, but you don't really take it in or swallow it until you're there and then you realize it. And I think I've told you that before because you're now in your 40s and I was like, wait, it gets better, because I really feel like that is the time when you really start feeling like, okay, I know who I am. I don't give a shit what these people think. But one thing that Raquel has, like her superpower, is her charisma and her, when she's there, like people want to be your friend because you're very supportive. You're like the best girlfriend in the world. Everybody wants to be your friend, and you're really, and she's beautiful, but she's not trying to take all the beauty. You know what I mean? She wants you to be beautiful too. And I think that that is a really great trait to have. And it makes me realize how important friendships are. You know, I feel lucky. I feel like we're in the minority to have a really close friendship like that, and that more women and men need to have a really good relationship like that. I think she's always been very confident. Like I always say that to her and to everybody, like you will look back, like when you turn 30, you're gonna go and look at a picture when you're 20 and go, oh my gosh, why was I complaining? How fat I was, how not cute I was, how old or whatever it was, okay? And you're gonna realize that you didn't appreciate how great you looked in that moment, because we're always judging ourselves. And I think it's even more so a female thing that's sort of put on to us from culture and just the, you know, living, right?
You know, social media and all the filters, that's huge right now. And it makes me so sad when I see beautiful friends, they have these filters on and you don't need them. Like I see so many beautiful people tweaking their pictures, and you know, my girls, I'm so proud of them because they don't use filters, and I used to use filters before. And my daughter said to me one time, she's like, why do you use filters? Do you not love yourself? And I had a moment.
She's so smart.
And I said, my daughter's looking up to me. She was younger and she's 17 today. And I said, I am an example. I need to teach my daughter. If she sees me using filters, she's going to do the same. I stopped using filters. I stopped tweaking my pictures. And I said, you know what? I need to be an example to my kids and to whoever I'm around. And I think that this is a very hard time for a lot of teenagers with confidence, because you see social media and you see everybody so flawless, and in reality, like everybody has pores and wrinkles and, you know, stuff going on. And we just need to work on being a little bit more real. I wish if I could take something away, I would take away filters.
And it's true too that skin health really affects our confidence. You know, when you have a big pimple or your skin is not looking its best, maybe like you could have melasma, you could have pigmentation issues like freckling, maybe that's out of control, dark circles under the eyes. You know, say you've been crying all night and the next day your eyes are swollen. You don't feel your best.
But there's ways you can do that. Like if you're swollen, like get an ice roller and roll it all over your face.
Right.
If you have acne, you go see an esthetician monthly. Go to a dermatologist.
If you have any problems with, say you're just not feeling like yourself on a day, what kinds of things do you do to try to really kind of boost your confidence?
You know, I turn on Beyonce or Karol G. If it's a day where I'm feeling like crappy.
You should actually put on some music and do your little dance and show me how to do that, because I don't think you've ever, I can't dance. And then we'll get up on our toes too, so that I'll get some calluses that can bite out.
Come on, this is like Karol G. How do you not know Karol G?
Bichotto, we're listening to Bichotto.
Baby. And all
It's
that
summer.
It's summer.
And one of the
Bikini
things
time.
I think I get asked this all the time is, what is the one single product that you need for multiple things, whether to protect your skin, but also for anti-aging reasons? And everybody will say, all dermatologists, probably
Estheticians,
too,
yes.
will say sunscreen.
Sunscreen.
Really, really important.
Sunscreen.
I think the biggest mistake people may make is not applying it often enough. And yes, I know that people want to have a little color because it makes us look better. It actually makes us feel better because it sort of gives you a little endorphin or makes you happier. And also it hides cellulite, it hides maybe like a little bit of jiggly skin and things like that. It just makes you look a lot better.
I love to be tanned.
But what people really should stick with is getting like that fake tan.
I
Getting a
spray
little
tan.
tint. Yeah, spray tanning is fat, and these days looks so realistic. And it really can make you look and feel great and hide that cellulite and hide any wrinkles or anything, stretch marks and things like that.
Well, I think for me, I don't really like to lay in the sun. I'm really scared about like skin cancer, pigmentation,
Premature aging and things like that. So that's the thing.
But you know, skin cancer has been like a big topic lately.
There's been some celebrities out there that have been talking about it, like Teddy Mellencamp. She had a melanoma on her back, and also Chloe has on her show, she's been talking about this big surgery that she had on her face, saying that it was a melanoma.
Right. So how can you avoid skin cancer?
There's different types of skin cancer. There are some really common types like basal cell carcinoma or squamous cell carcinoma. Those are types of skin cancer. Those are not as life-threatening. They will locally grow, but they are not very dangerous in terms of threatening your life. It's melanoma. That's the one that people hear about. That's the one people are scared about. And there's other more rarer types of skin cancer, but melanoma is the one that can metastasize, meaning that it could spread to other areas of the body. Melanoma is really a cancer of the melanocyte, which is the pigment cell. So the pigment cell, you see it in moles. What we usually ask people is that, do you notice that one of your moles is changing, or did you notice a new mole kind of come up, at least like in your 20s?
How can you examine yourself to see if you have anything like that going on?
What I usually tell my patients is know about your family history. Like if you have a family history of melanoma, you are potentially more predisposed to get something like that. If you also have a family or your skin, it has a lot of funny looking moles, like you grew up with that is something that you should see a dermatologist about. But also, you don't really get new moles in your later 20s, and your moles really shouldn't change that much. I mean, they can grow with you when you're growing, but if normally a mole is like tan or like even a little dark, but if it gets really dark in one area or has a white color to it or a red color, it looks really strange. That's something to bring up to us. And also if you get something new, you really not getting new moles after your late 20s. You can get other things too that are not moles. So I don't want you to think like every single thing that comes up with you, that could be something really bad, but that might not be technically a mole. The thing about melanoma is it can occur where the sun doesn't shine. You know, you can get melanoma anywhere. In fact, there are other famous people. Bob Marley had a melanoma in his toenail, right? So even African Americans can get them, people with dark complexions. Those other kind of skin cancers that are much more common, basal cell and squamous cell, they usually are induced by sun exposure. So if you had a history of a lot of sun exposure and even blistering sunburns when you're a kid, that increases your risk. You and I have a little bit more natural protection because we tend to not sunburn, but we tend to tan a little bit more easily. So we have that natural protection with us. But somebody who's really light complected, fair eyes, fair skin is gonna have an increased risk of that. So just think of that. Like the things you want to think about is if you have fair skin, if you burn easily, if you have a history of blistering sunburns, if you have a family history of melanoma, somebody in your family has that. If you have a mole that goes through the A, B, C, D, E's, we call it asymmetric. It has a weird border, like the border is really bumpy. The color changes or has weird colors in it. D is the diameter, if it's bigger than a pencil head eraser, just 6 millimeters, and E is evolution, if it's changing over time, like it just looks different, it's getting like a little different shape and things like that. And the other most important thing is you want to just trust your instinct. If you're just not sure what something is, come see a dermatologist.
Right.
We'll hopefully be able to reassure you and say that's not even a mole at all, don't worry about it, but like that's what we're there for. Or potentially biopsy something, or also look at areas that you can't really see yourself easily. Even your hairdresser can help. They actually will help to look through your scalp, right? Even when they're coloring your hair or cutting your hair, I will often tell patients, have your hairstylist point out if they ever notice anything funny in your scalp, and then you can point it out to me, because they can look through.
That's a good one. So how do you remove skin cancer?
So it depends on the type of skin cancer. So first you want to biopsy it, and then we're gonna be able to send it to the lab and get a diagnosis. If you have a melanoma, that is obviously the one that we're really concerned about. That is the kind that you need to take like a bigger margin on it, and be a little bit more aggressive about removing that, because that has a higher chance of spreading to other areas of the body and really threatening your life. But a basal cell or squamous cell, which are the more common ones, we usually will do things like we'll just excise it, or we'll do Mohs surgery. That is a specific technique where we try to take as little of you as possible and just take out the skin cancer. There's even radiation that you could submit the area to. So there's a lot of different techniques to get rid of skin cancer. So one of the things about melanoma, which can be very devastating, is it's one of those kind of cancers that tends to happen to people more in the younger age of life, like maybe in the 30s or so. And so it can be devastating in many ways, because a lot of times we might think about a cancer that you might develop in your older age where you've really lived a lot of your life. But when something happens in your 30s and you have a family, you have kids, and just starting out your life, it can be devastating in its own way. So that's what makes it very scary to people. So I think that the gist of it all is just to, if you have a suspicion about something, just come and see one of us, a board certified dermatologist, and we'll hopefully be able to help you with that and get rid of things.
Or just spray tan.
Yeah, spray tan too. Yes, but keep on, but like I said, like a melanoma, it can occur even if you're not in the sun at all. So this has been another episode of Poppin' Off with Dr. Pimple Popper
and your SD bestie. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and then watch every single episode.
Yes, we love you guys. Have you checked out the All Access membership page? You can click here to check it out.